play a key role here. Could you say something about how important are the oligarchs in Ukraine in deciding this country's fate?
As I already mentioned, there are different oligarchs. Yeah, so Kolomoisky, one of the really among the top 10 richest men in Ukraine. He is a governor in Dnipropetrovsk. Yeah, very. The person who made Dnipropetrovsk calm. Because Dnipropetrovsk as a financial center, as a center of railway connections, yeah, the big, very important place. You know, in Dnipropetrovsk they have the factory Yuzhmash. They produced this part of missiles which the Soviet Union had and then still Russia has in their arsenal. Yeah. And though it's an industrial center, the Kolomoisky has a full control in Dnipropetrovsk. If we look at Odessa, it's also very important that the person who is known in business is in charge. So the medium and the medium-sized entrepreneurs, they trust such a person more than it would be a politician sent from Kiev. So he also is one who is calming down the situation there, even if the attempts to destabilize situation in Odessa is very big from a neighboring country. If we look at Donetsk, this is somehow more difficult. Even if the richest man, Akhmetov, is living there, he is not. He didn't accept the proposal to be a governor. So there is a Taruta, another one. But from so after Maidan, he was acting very, very successfully. It was a completely normal situation in Donetsk, yeah, and it appeared some 2 weeks ago. And then for him it became harder. Akhmetov didn't cooperate enough, and this is a question why.
But are they so important that they can? Maybe you can fill in on this.
Well, it's while endorsing what Madam Ambassador has said, which is I would argue that, which is unfortunately, I would put this category of oligarchs, which is on the dark side of the moon. I believe that first and foremost they contributed in the fact that the Ukrainian statehood looks quite pre-modern. It is an aggregation of sectoral and territorial baronies, which are under the leadership of particular tycoons. The second was just these are not simply opulent people. These are people who are who mingle with some other section of the society, especially with power, with media and criminal world. And it is a nucleus. It is just this nucleus of, I would say, that embraces, the very pejorative phenomena in the life. The third element, which is, I am very much afraid that these people very much contributed, or at least hindered, the development of the notion of national interests. They live for tomorrow. Their principal vocation is to struggle to maintain their grip on some elements of the national assets, because I'm not sure whether it is a private property, or just in the European sense, it is rather some access to controlling and monitoring the flow of assets. So I believe they do not understand what are national interests. They know what are their private interests, and unfortunately these private interests, that refers also just to Yulia Tymoshenko, I am afraid, it preponderates over the national interest. And finally, I believe that there is a kind of the international of some, I would say, nexus of oligarchs, which is post-Soviet oligarchs. And from this point of view, they are not so much credible, trustworthy, and it is well showcased as far as, for example, Akhmetov is concerned.
Okay, thank you very much. Now I assume that our audience has some questions, and we need some microphones. And I noticed Susanne Oxenstierna. Susanne.
Yes, thank you very much for your very interesting presentations. First, regarding these oligarchs, just a comment. I mean, there is quite well documented in the literature that the oligarchy in Ukraine is one of the worst. And the result of this is that Ukraine today has a GDP per capita of $4,000 US. And that was, I would say, mismanagement, and this fight over the resources in Ukraine is the reason. I mean, only Moldova has less per capita income. What I want to ask is about this agreement that was supposed to be signed in November. What does it really include? I've been told it's a very long agreement, and first of all, I thought it was something that had to do with free trade, and in connection to that, I would like to ask, to what extent does it take account of that Ukraine's whole industry is in the eastern parts of the country, and it trades with Russia and has special rules with Russia. And what would happen to this industry with this free trade agreement with Europe? I'm an economist. I would say it would never survive, and it would be a steel bath as with the Russian coal industry. That is today a very efficient industry, so in the long term it's a good thing, but directly it would not be a very good thing. And Europe did not offer Ukraine anything in connection with this agreement, because you need money to restructure and to cushion this restructuring for the population. So I haven't seen the agreement. I'm very interested in what did they not sign in November. Then I'm interested in what did they sign later, this political part of the agreement. What does it contain? Thank you.
All right, and may we take another question at the same time? Anyone else? All right, Oscar. Just wait for the microphone. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Oscar Jonsson. I'm a PhD candidate at the Department of War Studies, London. I want to talk a little bit about, I would want to hear your views on the election. So the election is coming up quite soon. On the one hand, it looks very difficult to conduct the election, given the current situation in eastern Ukraine, and conduct it without the parts of the eastern Ukraine would be very dangerous from a perspective of legitimacy. So how do you view the perspectives of stability in any kind of near medium term? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So let's start with the question on what do the agreements actually contain?
Well, it's I didn't read it at length, just to answer, just as to the exact substance. But I can tell you following, which is we believe that that Ukrainian economy, except for some I would say endemic parts, which I endorse your reference to this. To some, I would say, elements of the eastern Ukrainian industry, but we have an impression that it was decaying. It was decaying, and for example, the energy efficiency is it's a overall kickoff of this negative tendency. Ukraine wastes a good deal, of energy, and according to our assessments, the energy that he has would be sufficient, to the Ukraine without exporting any additional portion from outside. Well, it will be a painful process to the Ukrainian economy, but. Well, we at least we were supportive. We were favorizing this because we believe that that always this I would say launching this process requires some shock therapy.
Okay.
Just it is indispensable. It is indispensable. We just crawling out from Soviet type economy, which just can't be done I would say in the white gloves, which is it's enormously difficult. We were afraid that Ukraine was, so to say, entangled into the post-Soviet economy, spiraling down, Poland was also just basically the country of heavy industry, which practically just the bulk of it was simply just dissolved. But on the other hand, we may say that we believe we perceive ourselves as successful in the process of transformation. It I would say the skeleton of Polish economy is based on the small and medium-sized entrepreneurship. We believe the same may be transposed to the case of Ukraine. Otherwise, the whole economy will be perpetuated in this post-Sovietism and with this I would say web of of Soviet technology, which was basically detrimental to the far-reaching interests. Yes, in this economy, the element of survival was very important. The post-Soviet economies are targeted to survival. Practically,
Okay.
it was just for tomorrow.
Yes, thank you. And then the question about the elections. Now, your question was what the effects will be if with the elections coming up. Yes, if it will reduce or increase stability.
Yes, on elections, and then some words about oligarchs as well. Would like. This is absolute must to have elections in Ukraine if Ukraine if Ukraine wants to continue as a sovereign state. So one of the reason of influence, interference in eastern Ukraine by Kremlin is connected with the fact to disturb elections in Ukraine. So to make instabilities that these elections cannot take place, and the rumors are tremendously many in Ukraine. What can be a reason why not to have elections, including such an element that it cannot be useful for Tymoshenko, that she has too little support, and then to keep instability is better for this force she represents. I do not buy these rumors by once, yeah, but such also exist. Whether elections can be legitimate without being conducted in part of Ukraine, meaning Crimea and eastern part, I think it's also somehow in hands of lawyers to find a solution. Yeah, for instance, Crimean citizens of Ukraine who manage to keep their citizenship and who want to participate in elections, they can participate outside Crimea or via sending their application by post. So this has been solved in this way. How it will be done in eastern Ukraine, not real recipe, what I have heard until this day. So, but I think also the presence of OSCE monetary mission for elections, which is present there. Long-term monitors are there, and short-term monitors will come. Huge number of people. I think they also will be giving the proof that these elections can be considered legitimate. this is must, absolute must for Ukraine and everybody in their leadership position understand it, and then the local population as well. The surveys show that the estimate participation in election is very high, around 80%.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, people. We are about running out of time here, so I would like to thank you both for joining us in this conference, and thank you for your comments to this panel. And